Good morning/afternoon/evenings, everyone. There comes a moment in life when you stand at a crossroads. You know deep inside that something needs to change. Maybe it's your career, your health, your relationships, or the way you see yourself. The question isn't whether change is possible. The question is, will you decide to make it happen? Change is not comfortable. It demands courage. It requires stepping into the unknown, into uncertainty, and let's be honest, uncertainty is terrifying, but the truth is everything you want lies on the other side of that fear. Playing it safe won't get you where you dream to be. One of the hardest things to do is to embrace vulnerability, to admit that where you are today is not where you want to be, to say, I don't have it all figured out, but I'm ready to start. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the birthplace of growth, resilience, and true transformation. So many of us live by the stories we tell ourselves. Stories about why we can't, why we're not good enough, why it's too late. But here's the truth. You can rewrite that story. You can decide right now that today is the day you stop making excuses and start making moves. Life has a way of pulling us toward comfort. It's safe, familiar, and predictable. Comfort feels good. It's warm like a soft blanket we wrap ourselves in, keeping us from the cold winds of uncertainty. But here's the reality. Comfort, while soothing, can also be the greatest barrier to growth. Every person who has ever achieved something great has had to make a choice. Stay in the comfort of what they know, or step into the discomfort of the unknown. Because growth, success, and transformation do not happen in comfort zones. They happen when we are willing to be uncomfortable, to take risks, and to step forward even when fear tries to hold us back. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is taking action in spite of it. It's looking uncertainty in the eye and saying, I'm doing this anyway. Courage means applying for that job even when you doubt yourself. It means speaking up for yourself when it feels easier to stay quiet. It means walking away from situations that no longer serve you, even if the unknown feels terrifying. Think about any major decision that changed your life. Maybe it was choosing to move to a new city, leaving an unfulfilling relationship, starting a new career, or saying yes to an opportunity that scared you. In those moments, fear was probably present. You likely had thoughts like, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I regret this? But you did it anyway, and that's courage. The truth is, choosing courage over comfort is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. It's waking up every morning and deciding that you will not let fear dictate your choices. It's reminding yourself that every time you choose courage, you grow stronger. You become the kind of person who doesn't just dream about change but makes it happen. But let's be honest, choosing courage is hard. It means putting yourself in situations where you might fail, where you might be judged, where you might feel vulnerable. And that's scary. But do you know what's even scarier? Looking back on your life with regret, knowing that you let fear keep you from the life you truly wanted. So when faced with the choice between courage and comfort, ask yourself, will I let fear hold me back? Or will I take the step forward? Will I choose temporary discomfort in exchange for long-term growth? Will I be okay with feeling vulnerable if it means unlocking my potential? Because in the end, comfort zones are cozy, but they won't take you where you want to go. Courage will. And the good news? Courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Start small. Take one brave step today and another tomorrow. Keep pushing yourself beyond what feels safe, because every time you choose courage over comfort, you're not just making a decision, you're changing your life. Vulnerability. It's a word that makes many of us uncomfortable. We are taught from a young age to be strong, to be tough, to hide our weaknesses and protect ourselves from anything that might make us feel exposed. Society often equates vulnerability with weakness, but in reality, vulnerability is one of the most powerful forces for personal growth, connection, and change. To be vulnerable is to be open to uncertainty, open to risk, and open to emotional exposure. It means showing up as our true selves, even when there are no guarantees. It means admitting when we don't have all the answers, when we're struggling, when we need help. And that's not weakness, that's courage. Think about the moments in your life when you felt most alive, most connected to others, most proud of yourself. Were you hiding behind a mask, pretending to have it all together? Or were you raw, real, and fully present? Vulnerability is the bridge to authenticity. It allows us to connect deeply with others because the truth is, we all struggle. We all have fears, doubts, and insecurities. When we hide them, we isolate ourselves. But when we embrace them, we find that we are not alone. One of the biggest reasons people resist vulnerability is fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of failure. We worry that if people see the real us, they won't accept us. We fear that if we try something new and fail, we'll be laughed at. But the truth is, nothing great is ever achieved without taking risks. Every major breakthrough, every moment of transformation, every deep connection begins with someone having the courage to be vulnerable. Imagine a world where people weren't afraid to be real, where leaders admitted when they made mistakes, where friends and family openly expressed their love and appreciation for one another, where we all stopped pretending and just showed up as we are. That world starts with each of us. It starts with the decision to stop hiding behind perfection and embrace the messy, imperfect, beautiful reality of being human. Embracing vulnerability also means letting go of shame. Shame tells us we are not enough, that we are unworthy of love, success, or happiness. But vulnerability tells us that we are enough just as we are. When we open ourselves up, we give others permission to do the same. We create space for real conversations, deep relationships, and meaningful change. So how do we embrace vulnerability in our daily lives? Be honest with yourself. Acknowledge your fears, insecurities, and emotions. Pretending they don't exist doesn't make them go away. Facing them is the first step to growth. Speak your truth. Have that difficult conversation. Share your ideas, even if they scare you. Express how you really feel instead of saying what you think people want to hear. Take risks. Try something new, even if you might fail. Step outside your comfort zone, knowing that failure is not a reflection of your worth, it's just part of the process. Let others in. Ask for help when you need it. Share your struggles with people you trust. You don't have to carry everything alone. Stop chasing perfection. Perfection is an illusion. The more you try to appear flawless, the more disconnected you become from yourself and others. Let yourself be seen, flaws and all. At the end of the day, vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. It is the foundation of courage, the key to deep relationships, and the path to a more meaningful life. When you embrace vulnerability, you open yourself up to love, to opportunity, to transformation. You stop living in fear and start living with authenticity and purpose. Every single one of us has a story we tell ourselves about who we are, what we are capable of, and what our future holds. Some of these stories empower us while others limit us. These stories are shaped by our past experiences, by the voices of others, and by the beliefs we have adopted, sometimes without even realizing it. But here's the truth. You are not bound by the story you've been telling yourself. At any moment, you have the power to take control and rewrite it. Too often we allow our past to dictate our future. Maybe you faced failure before and now you tell yourself that you're just not meant to succeed. Maybe you were told as a child that you weren't smart enough, talented enough, or worthy enough, and over time you believed it. Maybe you've been stuck in the same cycle for years, feeling like change is impossible. But the reality is your past does not define you. Your mistakes, failures, and struggles do not determine where you go from here. The pen is in your hands and you have the power to write a new chapter. Recognizing the stories that hold you back, before you can rewrite your story, you have to recognize the one you're currently telling yourself. Ask yourself, what beliefs do I have about myself that are holding me back? Where do these beliefs come from? Are they even true? What fears keep me stuck in the same patterns? If I could rewrite my life from this moment forward, what would I want it to look like? We often carry around limiting beliefs that were never ours to begin with. Maybe a teacher, a parent, or a past experience made you feel like you weren't good enough. But just because something was said to you or happened to you does not mean it has to be your reality forever. You have the power to challenge those beliefs and rewrite the narrative. Shifting from limiting beliefs to empowering ones, the stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. If you tell yourself, I'll never be successful, you will find ways to make that true. You'll hesitate to take risks, you'll doubt yourself, and you'll stay in situations that don't serve you. But if you change the story to, I am capable of success and I am taking steps to achieve it, your actions will follow. You'll seek opportunities, you'll push through fear, and you'll build the future you desire. So what if you started telling yourself a different story? Instead of, I'm not good enough, say, I am growing, learning, and improving every day. Instead of, I always fail, say, every setback is a lesson that brings me closer to success. Instead of, I'm stuck in this situation, say, I have the power to change my life one step at a time. Changing your story doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means shifting your perspective so that you focus on what is possible instead of what is limiting. Taking action to rewrite your story. Once you've changed the way you think, it's time to take action. Your new story isn't just something you tell yourself, it's something you live. Here's how you can start. Decide what you want. What kind of life do you want to create? What goals, dreams, and aspirations do you have? Write them down and be specific. Let go of the past. You cannot move forward while holding on to old pain, regrets, or failures. Forgive yourself. Accept that the past is a chapter, not the whole book. Surround yourself with positivity. The people you spend time with and the environment you create will either support your new story or reinforce the old one. Choose wisely. Take small steps. Change doesn't happen overnight. Start with small, intentional actions that align with your new story. Even one step forward is progress. Embrace the journey. There will be challenges. There will be days when you doubt yourself. That's okay, just keep going. Growth isn't linear, but every effort brings you closer to the life you want. You are the author of your life. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. Will you look back and see someone who stayed stuck in old patterns, repeating the same limiting beliefs? Or will you see someone who had the courage to rewrite their story, to break free from fear, to step into their power, and to create a life they love? Life is a series of choices every single day. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, you make decisions. Some small, some life-changing, some life similar. What time you wake up, how you respond to challenges, whether you take a risk or play it safe, how you treat others, how you treat yourself. It all comes down to choice. And while we cannot always control our circumstances, we can always control how we respond to them. That is the true power of choice. Some people believe their lives are dictated by fate, luck, or external circumstances. They feel stuck, powerless, and unable to change their situation. But the truth is, you always have a choice. You may not be able to control what happens to you, but you can control how you react. You can choose to see obstacles as roadblocks or as opportunities. You can choose to dwell on failure or to learn from it. You can choose to stay where you are or take action to change your life. Your life is shaped by your choices. Your career, your relationships, your health, your happiness, so much of it is a result of past choices. Some choices may have been intentional, while others may have been made passively, simply by going with the flow. But whether active or passive, choices shape our reality. If you're unhappy with where you are, the good news is that you can start making different choices right now. No matter what has happened in the past, no matter how many times you've felt stuck, you have the power to choose a different path. One decision, no matter how small, can create a ripple effect that changes your life. The illusion of no choice. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is, I have no choice. We say it when we feel trapped in a job we hate, in a toxic relationship, in unhealthy habits, in a life that doesn't fulfill us. But unless someone is physically forcing you, you do have a choice. The real issue is that sometimes a painful, difficult, or terrifying one. Small choices, big impact. Many people think that life-changing choices have to be dramatic, but often it's the small daily choices that lead to the biggest changes. Choosing to wake up 30 minutes earlier to work on a goal. Choosing to replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations. Choosing to eat one healthy meal instead of junk food. Choosing to step away from toxic people and surround yourself with those who uplift you. Choosing to take responsibility instead of blaming others. Each small choice adds up over time. They shape your habits, your mindset, and ultimately your future. Fear choice. Many people avoid making difficult choices because of fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong decision. But avoiding a choice is still a choice. If you let fear make your decisions for you, you are choosing to let fear control your life. Ask yourself, am I making choices based on fear or based on what I truly want? Am I choosing what is easy or what will help me grow? Am I allowing others to make choices for me, or am I taking ownership of my life? How to take control of your choices. Acknowledge your power. Stop telling yourself that you have no choice. Own your decisions and recognize that you have more control than you think. Get clear on what you want. If you don't know what you want, it's easy to let life push you in any direction. Take time to reflect on what truly matters to you. Make intentional decisions. Instead of reacting impulsively or going with the flow, pause and ask yourself, is this choice leading me closer to the life I want? Accept responsibility. Stop blaming circumstances, other people, or your past. You cannot control everything, but you can control what you do next. Be willing to make hard choices. Growth comes from discomfort. The choices that scare you the most are often the ones that will change your life the most. You are one choice away from a different life. At any given moment, you are just one choice away from a completely different life. One choice can shift your path, redirect your future, and create new possibilities you never imagined. We live in a world that glorifies perfection, from flawless social media feeds to unrealistic expectations at work and relationships, and even in our personal growth. We are constantly bombarded with the idea that we must get everything just right. But perfection is an illusion, a moving target that keeps us stuck, frustrated, and afraid to take action. The truth is, if you wait for perfection, you will never move forward. The real key to success, happiness, and fulfillment is progress, not perfection. Choosing progress over perfection means valuing growth over getting everything exactly right. It means understanding that mistakes, setbacks, and imperfections are not failures, but essential parts of the journey. It means showing up, doing your best, and knowing that every step forward, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goals. The perfection trap. Many people get stuck in the perfection trap, which manifests in different ways. Fear of starting, you have a goal, a dream, or a project you want to pursue, but you feel like you're not ready. You tell yourself you need more time, more skills, or the perfect conditions before you begin. The problem? That perfect moment never comes. Fear of failing, you avoid taking risks because you're afraid of making mistakes. You equate failure with unworthiness, so instead of trying and learning, you do nothing. Overanalyzing everything. You spend so much time trying to make the perfect choice that you end up making no choice at all. You're stuck in analysis paralysis, constantly second-guessing yourself. Burnout and self-criticism, even when you accomplish something, you feel like it's never good enough. Instead of celebrating progress, you dwell on flaws and imperfections. This constant self-judgment leads to exhaustion, stress, and frustration. The perfection trap is dangerous because it keeps you stuck. It convinces you that if you can't do something perfectly, you shouldn't do it at all. But in reality, progress, no matter how imperfect, is always better than inaction. Why progress matters more than perfection. Progress builds momentum. The hardest part of any journey is getting started. When you focus on making small improvements instead of waiting for perfection, you create momentum. That momentum fuels motivation, and motivation leads to even more progress. Progress allows for learning and growth. Perfection leaves no room for mistakes, but mistakes are how we learn. Every time you take action, you gain experience, adjust, and improve. Progress allows you to develop skills and grow in ways perfection never will. Progress builds confidence. When you take small steps forward, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Over time, these small wins add up, boosting your confidence and making larger goals feel more achievable. Progress reduces fear and anxiety. The pressure to be perfect creates stress and anxiety. But when you shift your focus to progress, you remove that pressure. You begin to see mistakes as part of the process rather than something to fear. Progress leads to results. Think about any major success story. No one starts as an expert. Every athlete, artist, entrepreneur, or leader you admire started as a beginner. They improved little by little, day by day, until they reached greatness. Progress, not perfection, got them there. How to prioritize progress over perfection. Start before you're ready. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions or the perfect version of yourself to take action. Start now, even if you feel unprepared. You can improve along the way. Set small, achievable goals. Instead of aiming for impossible perfection, set small, realistic goals that push you forward. Celebrate every step you complete, no matter how small. Embrace mistakes as learning opportunities. Instead of fearing mistakes, welcome them as lessons. Every mistake brings you one step closer to success. Focus on consistency, not perfection. Progress comes from showing up consistently, not from doing things flawlessly. Keep moving forward, even on the days when it's hard.